Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Neca Pacific Rim Jaeger Gipsy Danger. These have now just been released to celebrate the release of the new Pacific Rim in theaters. Oh, I can't wait. Now, as of the moment you're watching this review, Spot hasn't had a chance to watch Pacific Rim yet. I know it's already in the theaters. I definitely want to check it out, though. This, by far, could be one of the coolest movies in recent memory, because it... How do you screw up a monster movie with giant robots fighting him? They're like, it's the ultimate guy movie. There are 3 figures that have been released from Pacific Rim. I'm hoping that they're going to release more of them. This is the Jaeger Gipsy Danger, right on the back of the package. The other 2 that you could collect are Crimson Typhoon and Knifehead. Luckily, Spot has picked up all 3. So reviews of all 3 will certainly happen. This comes to us from the good folks over at Neca. Spot also took this. Also picked this up from Super Power Collectibles. Now I know you guys are always saying, "Well, Spot, where do you get your toys from? Like, do you get them on online like eBay? Do you guys pick them up from a store? Whereabouts do you get them?" I gotta say, my new favorite place, to be honest, is Super Power Collectibles. The services there is amazing. Like free shipping on orders of $99 and more, free shipping, so you can't beat that. And also right now, Super Power Collectibles is honoring a $10 off on your $75 or more purchase. $10 off. You can't beat that. I'm going to provide the link down below, so if you guys want to check out Super Power Collectibles, I would highly recommend it. I'm also going to provide the coupon code down below as well, so if you want to save $10 off a $75 order or more, definitely want to jump on that. So anyways, there is no read-up, unfortunately. There's absolutely no read-up, which is a bit of a shame. For somebody who hasn't seen the movie necessarily, I would have liked a little bit more of a read-up for the figure itself. Needless to say, what I am going to do is I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get this opened up. And when we come back, we're going to have a better look at the Jaeger Gipsy Danger. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. And having a look at the Jaeger Gipsy Danger, I'm a little on the fence with how I feel about the figure. I think the strongest aspect of the figure is definitely the sculpt. I think the sculpt was executed very well by Neca. On the other end of the scale, I think the one thing that really is a strike to this figure is the paint. Before we get into that, let's zoom into the figure's face, if you can really call it a face. I guess the upper torso of the robot. Again, it's sculpted really, really well. You can see all the little pistons and all the little details of the robot suit. On the inside of the arm, you can make out all the little robotic mechanisms, the joints, the pulleys, the levers. I especially like this section right here, the way it's riveted, and you've got the little paneling and everything else like that. There's the back of the robot. Probably, you know what? I would say of the 2 sides, not that you're going to display the robot from this side, but of the 2 sides, the robot is the best on a sculpt level on the back. You can see all the little pistons and gears on the back of the legs there. Some really nice detail there. And I like in the back section there as well. Done exceptionally well. However, something that I can't really, and though every time I'm trying really to look at the figure and think, you know what, maybe it's not so bad. I gotta admit though, I'm not crazy on the paint. Now, this, for all intents and purposes, Spot hasn't seen the movie yet, but even if the robot, even if the suit, the Gypsy Danger suit, is of this coloring, I don't feel as if looking at the toy, I'm getting a proper... I don't feel as if it's being properly conveyed to me that this is a robot suit. I don't know what has happened here, but I just feel like the paint is just all right. Zooming into his face, well, zooming into his head. The head is all right, but you can see that there are areas, like right around the top here, where the paint is just a little sloppy. It's just a little too sloppy for my liking. It's a shame that they couldn't have done something, whether they could have put like a clear visor or something over top of that and then been able to have something inside that visor. Having it just the solid yellow coloring, it kind of just makes it look plastic. And I know this is a plastic figure and all, but it doesn't scream to me a movie replica. Also I'm assuming this to be his turbine engine here. Once again, really done well, but the paint almost doesn't do the sculpt justice enough. Had that maybe been a lighter color, had they found some way to even have that as a light up feature, which I know NECA's not really a company that does a lot of light up features, but still, if they had had the licensing and the property to do this lineup, I probably would have even been fine to pay more for the toy had it just been a little bit more detailed in the way of paint. I mean, even looking at the figure itself, I see a lot of like Gundam figure reviewers out there, and they do a lot of build videos, and they show how to panel line, and they show how to do the weathering and stuff like that. I feel as if this is the kind of figure that would look good once a customizer has had his hands on it. In first hand, in getting it out of package, it doesn't feel like it delivers as well of a replica of the robot in the movie, and again, more like just a plastic toy. Geez, I know, Spot, you're ripping this hardly apart. I don't mean to, but I mean, I just feel like the paint could have been a little bit better than what it was. Maybe some weathering on the chest plate here. Even like getting down to the lower torso section of the robot. It looks like they've made efforts to try to give it that metallic look to it, but also it just kind of looks like it's a coat of paint that's been roughly put over top of a darker gray. This figure really screams a custom. Somebody needs to get their hands on it and really give it that brushed, kind of weathered look to it. Maybe even give it like a darker coloring. As for the paint that they have applied to it, there's some nice outlining on the arms. We've got the red and the white going on around there, 34 up at the top corner. Even like right around here, it looks like it's just a little too messy. Just a little too messy for me. Now, in the way of his articulation, you probably may not have seen it, but Spot's been kind of doing this with the figure a lot. I find the figure is prone to wanting to stand really straight. When you go to attempt to move his legs out, they move out, but then they immediately snap back into place. And it could stem from the fact that his legs, right around here, this panel sticks really far up to the waist section of the robot. Because of that, every time you move the legs out, first of all, you're applying a lot of strain to that panel that I don't know if that's going to start breaking at one point, but certainly that also hinders that leg from moving out and ends up just snapping back into place. In the way of his overall articulation, his head does rotate, but you kind of have to get your fingers in there to move the head. It doesn't look as if it moves up and down, more or less just left and right. When you get to the shoulders, they do socket out. So you can move the shoulders in and out, front, back. So you get a lot of movement there. The elbows do bend, though really not a lot. And I could see the culprit right there, just again, because of the way it's sculpted. The elbow is hinged, but because you've got all these other panels in the way, it pretty much stops at right around there where the arm will not move any further. The hand is on a what looks to be almost a ball joint. It does look like it's a ball joint, so the hand moves out, rotates left and right. At least you get lots of movement in the hands. There's no restrictions there. The upper torso is on a ball joint, and that's probably the part I like the most about this. Because that ball joint is on the upper torso, you can really get a neat pose where you've got the robot almost if it's cinching up to deliver a knockout punch. It has no articulation in the waist, and that's understandable. The legs do go forward, but kind of again stops because the panels of the legs kind of get in the way. They do move out the back. They move out as Spot indicated, but not by a lot though. He does have a bend in the knee, and then also a hinge in the foot. And also, the one thing I want to draw your attention to, he's also got a hinge back heel, which is a really nice, something you really never see on a robot toy, a back independent heel. So articulation, the robot is definitely there. I have no, other than the legs, and perhaps maybe even in the arms, but still, for how you can move the upper torso, the arms are not as hindered as you would expect them to be. The legs, though, tend to be a little problematic. For me, it's a done well toy. The biggest culprit, though, is the paint. Biggest culprit. And I know when you start getting to like Transformers, you can get the regular retail releases, and then you can get the Takara releases, which are a more higher upper version of that same toy. This would be a very good example of a toy that I would love to see them release, like a deluxe version of, or like a super premium format version of this figure that had a little more, scratches, a little more weathering to the suit, and just had the paint do a little bit better of a job, that it would look more like the movie. I mean, as it stands now, and from what Spot has seen of the trailer, it's a solid toy, but it's just that. It just feels, it's not one of NECA's strongest releases. It feels, for me at least, like it's more a toy, painted as a toy, and painted less as a reproduction, as a replica of what we would have seen in the movie. The Jaeger Gipsy Danger, I'm going to give him only a 7. I'm only going to give him a 7. I'm thinking I'm going to like the other one a little bit more than this one, even though this one I think I like the design of him better. I think the execution of the other one is probably going to be a little bit better. But today's Toy Spot, we're having a look again at the Pacific Rim figures. We're looking today at the Jaeger Gipsy Danger. And again, Spot's going to provide the link down below to Super Power's Collectibles. So if you want to get your hands on this, or any of the other Pacific Rim figures, or really any of the other figures released by NECA, click the link down below, save yourself a little bit of this, and that's always a good thing. Thanks for watching as you always do, guys. Certainly stick around. Spot's got lots more reviews heading your way. See you guys next time.